This is still the book of 5. We're coming to the end of the book of 5 soon. The 650. So there are different sections of 50. This is number 6 section on full ordination. So 251, who may give full ordination? This is from the Anguttara Nikaya, the numerical discourses. Bhikkhus, possessing 5 qualities, a bhikkhu may give full ordination. So what is full ordination? Full ordination is basically the ordination as a fully ordained monk, meaning that so there's the initiate ordination, the novice ordination. So it is usually for those who are below age. Yeah, usually for those who are below age. But in today's context, in most tradition, when you are first ordained, you are given the novice ordination anyway. Yeah, you're only given the full ordination if you are of full age or if you are approved by the Sangha. In the Buddha's time, to be fully ordained is in a way, it's a minimum to consider to be a monk. Yeah, novice monks still have to live in dependence. Yeah, that means they still depend on the fully ordained monk to guide them. Doesn't mean that fully ordained monk then nothing left to do. I've been asked quite a few times by members of other faith during interfaith dialogues. They asked me how many years of training we have to go through before we get ordained. So because in particular, the Catholic priests, different Catholic priests, the sisters, they would ask me this question, in part because they go through about 12 years, around 12 years or more of training at different level, up to the point when they get ordained as a priest. Ordination is not a Buddhist term. Upasampada is the Pali term, to be given the Upasampada. So my reply to them is a bit different. For them, they go through the training, everything. Then when the council decide that they are suitable, then they get the ordination as a priest. In Buddhism, you get ordained to start your practice. It's not that you are Arahant, then you get ordained. If you're Arahant, don't need to ordain really. So in Buddhism, it's a bit different. You get ordained to start your training. So here, the Buddha lists out 5 qualities for a bhikkhu. So when you are fully ordained, then you are known as a bhikkhu. If you are not fully ordained, you are given a novice, you are a shramana, or samana. In Pali is samana, in Sanskrit is shramana. So bhikkhu is a Pali term, usually translated as monk. In Sanskrit is bhikshu, and that's why in Chinese we translate as bhikkhu. It has that the trailing sound. So what are the 5 qualities? Here, what 5? Here, a bhikkhu possesses the aggregate of virtuous behavior of one beyond training. So there are 5. The first one is virtuous behavior of one beyond training. He possesses the aggregate of concentration of one beyond training. He possesses the aggregate of wisdom of one beyond training. He possesses the aggregate of liberation of one beyond training. He possesses the aggregate of the knowledge and vision of liberation of one beyond training. Possessing these 5 qualities, the bhikkhu may give full ordination. So you may be familiar with this. This is in Chinese, the 五分法身. The 5 factors of the Dhamma body. So it is the 5 factors that's associated with an enlightened one. And in this case, of one beyond training means arahant, beyond training already. Yeah, so 戒定慧解脱解脱自见. So translated as knowledge and vision of liberation, 无分法身. So when I read this, I was reminded of what my teacher shared, that in the Buddha's time, only the arahants are assigned to perform community duties. Yeah, and he was in a way lamenting and commenting on how in modern times, in the Chinese Mahayana tradition, when they are ordained, then we have to do a lot of duties. Yeah, we have a lot of duties to do. Yeah, and in particular, he always highlight 要去赶亲善，要去do this, do that. There are a lot of things. Yeah, because and it's not a recent time actually. For several hundred years, for a long time actually, it's the norm. Like always, when you're ordained, then the old master would say, go and do 去做事情，去做事情。Yeah. 寺院不养闲人. You'll hear this kind of thing. And so in this context, so my teacher mentioned this, and he mentioned about how in the Buddha's time, who are the ones who are community officials. That means you have duty to perform. He said, when you attain arahanthood. Yeah, so when I shared this with a friend, but the question was, so before you attain arahanthood, why cannot do? Is it? Because before you attain arahanthood, you still have defilements. Yeah. So if you are to perform duties, you may not do it in the right way. Yeah. You may still have partiality. Yeah. You may end up doing more demerit. Yeah. So in particular, my teacher was highlighting about going to give teachings. He said in the Buddha's time, you have to be of a certain standard. So this reminds me of what my teacher shared. Of course, my teacher has his reference from the suttas. Yeah. So in this case here is talking about whether a monk is qualified to give full ordination. Yeah, to ordain new monks. But if you consider this, this is actually a rather high standard. When I read this, I was like, wow, such a high standard. In the Vinaya, the Buddha stipulated that 10 monks can give full ordination on his behalf. And of course, in the initial stage, when he asked the 60 monks after Prince Yasa joined the Sangha, and then all of them attained arahanthood, and he asked them to each ride an elephant, and where the elephant stopped is to spread the Dhamma there, teach that. At that point in time, all of them are arahant. Yeah, but later on, there are a lot of people who join the Sangha, so not all of them are arahant as well. So if you look at the stipulation, it merely states that the bhikkhu must be in good standing. Yeah, must be in good standing. But here the standard is much higher. Yeah. Then at the same time, there's a sutta where the Buddha also asked Venerable Rahula, his son, to go and give teachings to the lay people. Yeah, to give teachings to lay people. Venerable Rahula asked the Buddha to teach him how to practice. So he tell him, like, do you know the 5 aggregates? He said, I know. Okay, go and teach the lay people about the 5 aggregates. Then he go and teach. Then he come back. Okay, I've done that. What else? So the 5 aggregates, the 12 bases, the 18 elements, and so on. Then once he's done all that, then the Buddha, okay, now he teach him I think he teach him the 4 foundations. Yeah. So while there's the high standard, you have to reach this state. Yeah. 戒定慧, the precepts. Yeah. Here, virtuous behavior. Yeah. Do you all recall? Sila oftentimes translated as precepts, right? Yeah. So here, Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi also translated as virtuous behavior, because sila is about behavior. The word sila actually has this other meaning, behavior. In modern times, we often translate as precepts, yeah, but actually it's about how we behave. Yeah. So the behavior of precepts, and then concentration, wisdom, and then liberation, and then knowledge of liberation. 戒定慧戒斗戒斗世界 knowledge and vision, 知见. So, not easy, huh? Yeah, not so easy. So something interesting about these 5 things. In the suttas, we would see that there are different references where, when talking about sentient beings, then we often talk about the 5 aggregates. Yeah, 5 aggregates, which is form, feelings, perception, mental formations, and consciousness. 五蕴, 色受想行识. Then, but when referring to the enlightened ones, then we talk about this set. Yeah, this set which is not form, feelings, perception, mental formations, and consciousness. We talk about 戒定慧解脱解脱世界, these 5. So, why is there such a difference? Is it that the Buddha and the Arahants don't have body anymore? They don't have the aggregate of feelings anymore? They don't have any perception, any thinking anymore? And so on? No, it's not. It's that for us, where there is form, there's clinging. We cling on to this form. We are attached to this form. We identify with this form. Where there is feelings arising, we cling on to it, we are attached to it, we identify with it, and so on. Whereas for the enlightened ones, they no longer identify, they no longer cling on to, they are no longer attached to any of this. Where there is form, it is expressed in terms of virtuous behavior, it is expressed in terms of concentration, that's wisdom. The 5 aggregates, when expressed, embodies the 5, the 五分法身, the 5 Dhamma body. Yeah. This is how I understand it. So, when you wake up in the morning, do we embody the 5 clinging aggregates? The 5, do we arise in the form of 5 aggregates that we cling on to? Or do we, when we appear to others, do we appear in terms of virtuous behavior, appear in terms of concentration, in terms of wisdom, in terms of liberation, in terms of knowledge and vision of liberation? Which is it? Can or not? Can or not? Maybe a bit tough. Yeah, try. Every day when you wake up, you imagine yourself. Okay, imagine yourself to be an enlightened one. Yeah, act like enlightened one. Then later on, you go around. Hey, do offering of apple, orange, banana. Come on, like. Suppose say today I shall act as an enlightened. So you all offer incense, come, offer light. No, enlightened ones actually don't go around asking people to offer all these things. Yeah. Okay, today Now it's 7:56. Today is Sunday. So, Marcel, any questions? Okay, yeah. Hi, Shifu. How do you decide which tradition to follow? Could you share your own experience? That's a good question. How to decide? Um, yeah, my own experience. Yeah, my own experience is a bit funny. Yeah, because most of my life I don't know whether is it because I don't really care to decide or I just happen not to decide. Most of the decisions, like major points, as I've shared before. But in the case of ordination, did I decide which tradition to follow? In a way, I did. In a way, I didn't. Yeah, I did decide to go to US to attend the 21-day retreat. We joined in. It was actually an 80-day retreat. 参巴士. We joined in the last 21 days. Yeah. Totally use up all my leave. I even have to take advance leave. And in the end, I still owe the company some leave when I left because I didn't fulfill the last 2 months because I left. I was going to leave. Then I asked my boss, "Hey, boss, how?" Then he said, "Never mind lah. I can give you some off day to cover." Yeah. Yeah, so I decided to go for the retreat, right? But when I decided to go for a retreat, I didn't exactly decide to go there and ordain yet. Yeah. It is when I went there, and then I find myself resonating with the teachings given. Yeah, this is how I decide to follow. Well, to say that I decided to follow the Mahayana tradition is actually not really true. Also, yeah, I found a teacher who inspired me, who gave me confidence that enlightenment is possible. Yeah, he gave me that confidence. Not that he gave me confidence that I can attain enlightenment. He gave me confidence that enlightenment is possible. Whether I go and do it and get enlightened, that's my problem. That's not his problem, nor the problem of enlightenment. Do you see the difference? But at some point, in the midst of the retreat, I was having some hesitation. Yeah, because I was very inclined towards the Theravadan tradition. Yeah, somehow I was very inclined towards the Theravadan tradition. Maybe if I were to try to think of a reason why, it's because I was somewhat repulsed by the Mahayana tradition. Yeah, because in the Chinese Mahayana tradition, there's just, I mean, back then, in my opinion, and there's just too much chanting, Yeah, and there always seemed to be some form of very seemingly obtuse way of doing things, Yeah, like a lot of things just doesn't seem to make sense. Like my impression back then was, of the many talks that I've attended, I at some point I decided, okay, I told my mom, from now on, don't ask me to go for any more puja, the Chinese puja. Yeah. Yeah, because I asked my mom, like, do you know what you all are chanting? And then he's like, "你去问师傅." I'm like, you cannot everything say you go and ask师傅, you must know what, you know? Yeah, I couldn't get a good answer. Yeah, and for the most part, I think it is still true. A lot of people just chant, but they don't know what they are chanting as well. But I don't let me highlight. I don't see that is a bad practice, okay? Yeah, that is not a bad practice. If you take it as an end by itself, then it's a bad mindset. The practice is still not bad because it's your attitude that you take it as an end, then that's your problem. Meaning that you think that chanting is all you need to do. If you think that way, that's your problem. That's not the problem of the chanting. It's just like, for example, before you go for a run, you need to do warm up, right? Correct? Warm up has no problem. But if you think that all you need to do is to do warm up and then go back home, yeah, you chill your friends to go for running. Then after you say, hey, let's do some warm up first, warm up. Then after, okay, let's go. Then he's like, huh? Wait, where are you going? Go for a run? Huh? You mean go for a run means I have to run? So, yeah, that's why we say go for a run. So, oh, I thought I've been doing warm up for the past 30 years, So you see the point? Nothing wrong with warm up. But if you take warm up as an end by itself, then you're missing the point. Similarly, chanting, I mean, I don't know whether to consider chanting as a warm up is a good, parallel. But because chanting at least fulfill the wen part, the hearing part, but it shouldn't be as an end by itself. Yeah. But at least back then, I don't know about now, okay, it seems to be the case that the Chinese Mahayana Buddhism I was exposed to in Singapore and perhaps in most of Southeast Asia, I wasn't really aware of how things are like in Taiwan or China at that point in time. But at least in Singapore, Malaysia, and Indonesia, seems to be the case. There's a lot of emphasis on Fa Hui, Chinese Mahayana Buddhism. Yeah, I mean, you ask yourself back in the 80s, which temple actively advocate meditation? Chinese Mahayana temple, which one? Right? Of course, Yuan Fang Fa Si did advocate meditation. Yeah, but he's not the norm. He's the exception to the rule, right? Yeah. Back in the 80s, 70s, and 80s, most are just doing Fa Hui, 初一十五. Yeah, last time it's not weekend one, last time it's 初一十五. Yeah, then eventually become weekend puja. Yeah. And when there are Dhamma talks, it's either super high level that everything is 不可说. Yeah. Or sometimes when you go to some hawker center and then there'll be some video playing, yeah, and then the venerable will be talking about 这个佛菩萨的境界不可思议 Then it's like okay, and so what do I do next? 我们要发大心 like most of the Dhamma talk is either super high level, always asking you to 发大心, yeah, to walk the Bodhisattva path and then talk about how amazing all the Buddha Pure Land is, or 我们要修福多修福修 or just a lot of taglines, 要修福修慧要修福 and nothing specific, yeah, and yeah, so whereas when I but the funny thing is that I didn't really listen to much of the Theravada Dhamma talks actually, because back then yeah, there are a few, yeah, but not so prevalent as today, not so prevalent. If you go to Thai temple last time, is to go and do meal offering and then receive blessing. Yeah, because in the past, most of the Thai temple don't have English-speaking monks. The English is very limited. Yeah, Bante has been giving teachings. Yeah, even until today, in most of the temples, like in recent years, then there are more of the younger Sri Lankan monks who actually speak English. The earlier ones, they do give also. Yeah, but I guess it's about exposure. So my exposure to Theravada Buddhism was through the text. Yeah, yeah, and I was always very inspired by the text. Chinese, so very interesting. Chinese Mahayana is through the chanting and through the Dhamma talks. Theravada was through the text. Yeah, because I cannot read Chinese last time. Cannot read Chinese. Then in between, I was exposed to Tibetan Buddhism. Yeah. But I think I'm just relating to you how I felt back then. I don't necessarily feel exactly the same today. And that's why in the end when I ordained, my mom was really surprised, like, why did you go all the way there? Like in Singapore, you go to many temples also, and you are actually volunteered in a few temples. Yeah. Then so she was like, yeah, how come you didn't? In Singapore, no temple. So my impression was that because in most of these temples, I don't get the message of liberation. Yeah, I seldom hear Dhamma talks that emphasize work on your defilements. Perhaps that's why I overcompensated. So you notice my talks, no matter what topic, it will come back to defilements. Like you give me any topic, I will somehow work my way towards your defilements. Yeah, maybe it is overcompensation. But to me, if we don't go in this direction, then what Dhamma talk is there, right? Yeah. But over the years, as I reflected, especially after I ordained, and then over the years, when I think about it, I'm actually slightly different, of a different opinion compared to the past. Today, when I think about all the different Dhamma talks I've attended, I would look at it this way, that it was simply because I was not ready. Yeah, I was simply not ready. And all the venerables whom I've heard give teachings on the high-level Bodhisattva path, or emphasis on, Yao Xiu Fu, Xiu Hui, and so on and so forth, that helped to loosen the soil. Yeah. Yeah, that helped to loosen the soil. They played a part towards the path also. So don't be mistaken. I have to admit, in the past, I do feel like they didn't contribute much. But after I ordained and over the years, I am actually very grateful to all the venerables who tirelessly before me give teachings. And it's very different, because today I would say all of you are educated. So I can use English, Yeah. Or like in Hong Fa Tuan, I can use Mandarin. In Si Guang, I can use Mandarin. And people will understand. But back in the days, the venerables back then, they face a very different crowd. Yeah. 穿插不齐. At least here, there's a certain boundary to it. Yeah. Back then, the whole climate in the temple is very different. Yeah. It's a family affair. Whole family, then got small kids run around, then the Akong Ama. It's like going. It's really like just visiting temple, no. So to get them to even join the prayer, wow, it's amazing already. So I remember the venerables, whenever they start, right, one of the either sometimes they'll have some of the lay people to help to 打法器, and in some cases then they'll have the venerables, right? So they will 旗鼓 dong 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 dong, to tell people we're going to start already. Then you see all the auntie uncle and it's very noisy one, you know. They are chit-chatting, talking. Then they will start to, the ones in front, they will start to wear the haiqing, black haiqing. And then I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I always sense I feel the vibes from them, the sense of superiority. They'll stand up kind of like, in a very, almost like laissez-faire, matter of fact kind of thing, like they wear the haiqing and then they're like, almost, again, maybe it's just in my mind, almost I look over the shoulder like, you all have not received the three refuge yet. Then there'll be those who even wow, the brown robe. But their brown robe is different from ours. Theirs have no stitches, because it's the lay person's robe, right? Then even lagi why say, you know. Yeah. And then occasionally I'll see people, the newcomers, don't know then empty seat in front, because funny, sometimes Chinese very funny. Want to be proud, but still want to be humble. So don't want to sit, some don't want to sit in front. Then in front there are empty seats, right? So people don't know first time come, then sit in front. Then actually it belong to one old timer. The old timer come, hey, this is my seat. Wow, have a look. Yeah. And then after that, the monk sometimes come in. Some of the monks would scold people to come in and usually after the puja. After the puja, we'll tell people off and say, 刚才师父在后面听好像巴沙一样just now 师父 behind listen to the commotion like a fish market, no, like a market, no. Every time I have to tell you, when you come into the hall, just do chanting, keep quiet, don't talk. But this is how it was. Yeah. So, and while they are doing chanting, right, there's another group outside, you know, sitting around, and then the father, and some of the uncle or whoever outside smoking. Yeah, I'm serious. Inside temple, some of them paiseh, then they step at the gate, right at the gate. Yeah, smoking. It's almost like you're looking at the sutra happening, you know. You know, in the sutra, it says that those who are reborn in the Pure Land, right, there are those who are able to understand the teaching, so they immediately see the Buddha. There are those who cannot understand the teaching, so they are a bit further. They can only be taught by the junior bodhisattvas before they can see the high-level bodhisattva and the Buddhas. Then there are those with heavy karmic obstacles, but somehow managed to be reborn in Pure Land. They are at the Pianti. They haven't entered Pure Land. They are at the Pianti. Yeah. So in the past, when I heard about that, right, it's like, oh, so it's like you are not good enough. You cannot go in. But over the years, and then some people are like, well, how come Buddhism like that one? People want to go, then still stop them there. But over the years, I start to appreciate it differently. Is that it's not that the Buddha stop people from going in. It's you're stopped by your own karmic obstacle, you know, your own defilements. So it's just like a temple, Nobody stopped those smokers from going in, but they want to smoke, so they don't go, you know. Or they don't like the chanting, so they stand very far away, you know. And that was the backdrop. And in that backdrop, it's very different from today. Very different. Because even those who are inside chanting, most of them are not educated. My Amma was not educated for sure. Yeah. But she can chant. She probably can chant better than me. Yeah. So over the years, as I reflect, I start to become very appreciative and grateful to all the venerables who have come before me. Because if they didn't keep up the group cultivation and occasionally give some teachings, usually it's after the chanting, then sometimes they give very short kaishi. Yeah. And because the challenge is those who come for puja, right, for the chanting, they're not really interested in Dhamma talk oftentimes. So you can see if the venerable give a short one, like 5 minutes, just and then 喊口号, 要修福修慧, then then they feel very happy, right? Then if the venerable talk a bit longer, then you start to see them restless already. It's like, so it's very different. Yeah. So today when I look back, I think they did very great service to the whole community by keeping the lamp alight. Yeah. If they decided, anyway, you all don't want Dhamma, and then just chanting not good enough, then if they adopt the all or nothing, then they say, okay, Feng Shan, we all just practice by ourselves. You all want just leave food at the door, safe distancing. Then we practice ourselves. You all don't come and disturb us. You think the monks like so many people go there, then like fish market? No, I can assure you, none of them like that. They would rather everybody come together, learn Dhamma, do sharing, do meditation. But very different climate back then. And so with that, then I was able to plant little seeds. Yeah, when I was much younger, go to the temple to do what? Not to do chanting initially. Yeah, initially do chanting because too young to do anything. So stay inside with my mother. Then later on, a bit older, then go to the kitchen to help to I always wanted to try cut vegetables. They always don't let me cut vegetables. Always wash plates lah. Then bring out the dishes. So I was doing the waiter duty for some number of years until I was the last boy standing. Until I reached Sec 1 or Sec 2, then I was the pride of my mother because all the auntie would look at my mom and say, "Wow, Li Fang Jie, wow," like praise my mom, saying that, "Wow, you are so blessed, Wow, your son is still around. You see, all our children all run off already." Yeah. Little do they know, a few more years I also run off. Yeah. But I think I continued to go to the temple with my mom until maybe university. Yeah. Or because NS, I remember I still went to the Biru Sit with my mom. Yeah. JC, NS, I went to Biru Sit with my mom. Then after that, at some point, I told my mom, don't ask me to go for the chanting anymore. If there's Dhamma talk, you can let me know. Yeah, I will go for Dhamma talks with you. So in a way, that's how I end up choosing the tradition. But still, when I was in US, I was still hesitating, deciding between whether to ordain under my teacher. I was really inspired, or to go to Australia to join Ajahn Brahm. Yeah, I remember the first Dhamma talk he gave in Singapore, the World Buddhist Conference. He mentioned about the monk factory. So I was like, wow. And then he shared about what they do there, and I was like, wow, yes, let me go there. Yeah. So when I was in US, the spark was kindled, but I was wondering whether, because I was afraid that, wow, my teacher is Chinese Mahana, then later Indian, same thing like Singapore, then what for, right? And I was very inclined towards the Theravadan teachings, right? So out of the blue, I shared this predicament with my Dhamma brother, who was there on the retreat with me. And I didn't share with anybody else, and he didn't share with anybody else. But the next day, my teacher, out of the blue, during the retreat, he will give some teachings, right? So out of the blue, he just mentioned that all of you come here to learn, to practice together. You are free to use the contemplation on no self from the Xiao Chen, from the Theravadan tradition. He didn't use Theravadan because in the term is Xiao Chen, the smaller vehicle. You can use that to contemplate on no self. Yeah, or if you wish, you can also use the contemplation of emptiness using the Mahana approach. So I was like, that solved my problem. Yeah. So after that, I shared my Dhamma and I said, hey, do you tell anybody about my predicament? They said, no. I said, hey, teacher, today he just... So I said, okay, that does it. So in the end, I joined my teacher. I ordained under my teacher. That's how it happened. Yeah. Oh. If I were to distill everything down, it's what I've been sharing with some students. Which tradition to follow, how to choose. The first thing you must know is that it's not very feasible to try all the traditions before you decide. It's not very feasible. Yeah. Why? Because we have limited time. Yeah. It's like if you want to get married, you don't go and date all the men in the world, then you decide, I think man number 385 is quite good. Even if you don't talk about the whole world, the whole of Singapore, it's just not feasible, isn't it? Right? So most people end up settling down with people around them, that they happen to meet. I don't say that it must be happen to meet because I literally happen to meet my teacher. Okay, but whichever tradition you encounter, you should try it out, and most importantly, number one, don't base it on how you feel emotionally. Don't stay in a tradition, don't stay in a community because it feels nice. You want to feel nice, go shopping center, quite nice also, aircon. You know, you want to feel good, hang out with your friends. Usually they make us feel good, sometimes make us feel bad. But there are many ways to feel good, feel nice. If you want to choose a Buddhist tradition, that shouldn't be the purpose. Is to end suffering. But to end suffering, you must get to know your suffering. You must get to know the cause of suffering. So whichever tradition you encounter, see whether that tradition helped you to identify your defilements, identify your suffering. Sometimes even in a very blunt way. Maybe it's not the sifu, maybe it's the people around there that agitate you. This sounds a bit twisted, but if you find a place where you get agitated, you should stay there for a while more. Unless they tell you don't come ever again, then bo pian. Maybe they get more agitated, they cannot take it. Yeah. And that's why sometimes when there are groups of people where they agitate each other, sometimes I try to do something about it. Sometimes I feel that it's also an opportunity for us to work on it, Yeah. The easy solution is, okay, the majority don't feel comfortable with person A go. Yeah. Or you go to a certain group, you don't feel comfortable with them, then you don't go. Then you go. Yeah. That may not be the best way. Yeah. Important thing is recognizing your defilements. Yeah. And then whether that this group, this lineage, this tradition offers an approach to work on the defilements. Yeah. As to whether we can do it or not, that's our problem. Yeah. But it also means that we have to actively engage the teacher or our fellow peers to find out whether we are using it correctly. Don't just blindly try in our own way of what we think is the method, then try for 30 years, then it cannot leh. Then come and look for Sifu. Sifu passed away already. 30 years later, I'm almost 80 years old. Around there, I think. Maybe earlier. But we should at least, and then the last thing is, when we try it out, we should at least try it for a certain duration of time. Yeah. Don't just try for 3 days, 3 months, then cannot. Then Yeah, because it takes time. No, yeah. If you are looking for fast results, then Buddhism is also not the approach. Yeah. In fact, nobody can give you fast results. Right? The truth is, yeah, there's no fast result. It's only perceived fast result. Yeah, there's no fast result. Yeah. Why? Because for so many lives, we have been planting seeds of samsara. We have been accumulating all this habituation. You want it to be just removed like that? It takes time. Oh, yeah. So I hope this helps you to decide which tradition to follow. Yeah. And may you find the suitable tradition and work towards your liberation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. 愿消三障诸烦恼，
愿消三障诸烦恼，
愿得智慧真明了，
愿得智慧真明了。
普愿罪障悉消除，
普愿罪障悉消除，
世世常行菩萨道。
世世常行菩萨道。
阿弥陀佛。Till we meet again, you'll be guided and protected by the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And as always,
乖乖，谢师父。
阿弥陀佛。Have a normal Sunday ahead. Take care, stay safe.
Thank you, 师父。
Bye.
师父, SGC afternoon, there's an invited guest, Venerable. Venerable Ratanasara will give us a topic on Sachita Sutta. Watch your mind. Yeah.
So go and
So everybody watch it from Facebook. We are doing a premiere.